Hello, hello, hello. As y'all come in, let me know where you're from, what city you're based in. I don't think I saw any. Good morning, Brand. How's it going? These are the emu oils. I thought I had to bottle some emu oil, but I think I finished all the emu oil orders so far. I am bottling some product to get the pre-orders that I have left shipped out. I'm going to have these shipped out today. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any emu oil orders right now. I'm going to work on the rosewater refills. Grand Rising, Sunny. At the gig Midwest here. Okay, Brand, Midwest. What part of Midwest, if you don't mind sharing? What part of the Midwest? I don't have much experience in the Midwest. I've been to Indiana. I have a homegirl who lives in Indianapolis, and I've spent some time with her out there. She moved out there after college and has been there since. St. Louis. Okay, St. Louis. I haven't been there yet. But I will. But Indiana is counted as the Midwest, right? I think that's the only place I've been. I mean, technically, I've been to Chicago, but not really. Like, I went there for a layover, and I didn't leave the airport, so that doesn't really count. But Sunny, where are you coming in from? And everybody joining, let me know where you coming in from. Okay, so I have a lot of rosewater refills to make right now. So I had my assistant label these bottles already. Both Midwest. Okay, dope. Good to know. So this may not be a very interesting live. I am working, but hopefully, if you guys leave me comments and questions, I'll be able to answer for you. But it's my product drop time. So if you guys want to order products, it's the prime time to order now while shipping is happening. If you wait until the 19th and onward, then your order is automatically a pre-order, and then it won't get shipped until July 15th. So it's the prime time to shop now. Sunny says, what are your thoughts on burying your damaged lock trimmings as an offering? I support it. I don't personally do that. I keep my trimmings in a baggie. I just want them to be in my possession. I just want to have them. I want eyes on them. Like, they're in a certain drawer of mine. Whenever I open a drawer, I see them. And I like that. It was important for me to trim them off because I've had my locks for so long. If you guys have been following me for a long time, then please know that I was 19 when I started my locks. I was 19 when I started making lock content. 19. I was a teenager. I was a kid. Okay? And I am a grown woman now. So it's really important that I do not have that childish energy attached to me anymore. So that's part of it. Also, I did have some color damage. I wanted to get rid of that. And also, it was just too long for me. So I wanted to get rid of length. But I really wanted to keep the hair. Although I didn't want it to stay on top of my body or attached to my body, it was just important for me to keep it. So if that's not important to you to have it in your possession, then sure, definitely bury it or even burn it, but I wouldn't throw it out in the trash. I know for a fact that like there have been times where I just kind of like flippantly just threw out a piece. Like maybe I was out and about and like I noticed the hair breaking off. I might have just ripped it off and threw it in the trash. But I did that like unconsciously, If I was conscious and like intentional, I wouldn't have done that. I would put it in my purse. There have been times where that has happened in public. I had just put it in my purse and then I put it away later on, but that's because I was thinking. So that's my thoughts on that. Burying it is cool, but I guess it just depends on how deep you bury it, because understand that animals will find it if it's not buried deep enough. Animals will find it, and then they may incorporate it in their nests or something like that. So that's something to consider. Brand says, I've been thinking about a new head wrap. Might have to check them out. Yes, definitely check out my head wraps. I have a bunch of colors. A couple of the colors are sold out, but just a couple. Well, the black one is sold out. The gold one is sold out. The camel one is sold out. But I have a decent amount of inventory of all the other ones. So that's the deeper red and the bright red. That's the muted blue and the bright blue. I got the olive green and like the forest green, the moss green. What other colors? There's gray, there's white. I may be forgetting some colors, but definitely check out the website. And it's a buy one get one free that's still going on with the head wraps, and they're just use the code LAW, and you can buy one get one free on the head wraps. Just make sure that you add multiple to your cart, because I'm not gonna just be able to just guess which head wrap you want for free. So make sure you add the one you want for free in your cart as well. Birdman says $100. What are you talking about? $100. What are you talking about? Sunny says the same age I was when I started mine. Dope. What made you start at 19? I started at 19. I was I had intended on starting when I was 18. So when I turned 18, I was like, okay, I'm ready to start. When I start college, I'm gonna grow my hair natural and I'm gonna start my locks. I'm not necessarily I wasn't necessarily planning on starting right away. I was just really planning on just growing out my natural hair. So my relaxer right before prom was my last relaxer. And then I started my locks, and I just wanted to explore me. I felt like just natural hair was just more me. And I just always wanted locks. I just always thought locks were just top tier. So she forgot to label one of these. Brand says that's deep, y'all. I never thought about that. I always threw mine away. Yeah, I'm somebody who's of African descent, obviously, and I trust that you are all of African descent. But I'm also of Caribbean descent, and I just am aware of the bad mind people out there who have certain gifts that they may not be using those gifts for good. And by that, I mean magic. You don't want people having your hair and doing magic on you. So be mindful. I remember I first had that idea from when I was in high school. This girl was in the bathroom and she was combing or brushing her hair, and she took the shedded hair off the brush and threw it in the trash. And my Haitian friend at the time was like, "Don't do that! Don't do that!" And she took the hair out of the trash for the girl and put it in a tissue paper and threw it in the toilet and flushed it. She's like, "Don't do that! Don't do that!" And I always remembered that, like, especially because she's Haitian, and you know, Haitians very often are well versed in magic. I'll use the word magic for the purposes of this video. I'm not going to use the other terms. Hi, Carolyn. Good morning to you. Brand says, "Ooh, that green. I might go with that. Definitely about to check that out. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, we have the olive green and the moss green. The moss green is like a forest green. Both dope. I prefer the forest green. I mean the olive green, because it just goes more with my wardrobe. I have a lot of earth tones. I mean, moss green is an earth tone too, but I mean, I wear a lot of, like, as you can see, I'm wearing like this cocoa colored top. I have like a lot of like what's another word for olive? Like, I have like, I don't want to say camouflage, but like I have a lot of clothes that fit the camouflage spectrum. Sharita says, "Good morning." Hey, good morning, Sharita. Brand said I was about 23 to 24 when I started mine. Yeah, so where were you guys heads at when you started your locks? You know, where were you? Sunny says, I was a loose natural for a year and I got to a point where I was tired of dealing with my natural hair, but didn't want to cut it. I respect that. You know, and my intention was to probably start my locks my senior year of college, but I ended up starting my locks right after my freshman year of college. So I grew out my natural hair throughout my freshman year. I wore braids to grow it out. And I came to the point where I was like, my hair, I have some length on my hair. Like, I don't really want to deal with my loose natural hair like that. Like, I want locks. So I went ahead and started the locks. I didn't wait. And I did learn that, you know, the longer your hair is, the slower it locks. So, or the more time it takes to lock, I should say, which is kind of like, it should be kind of like self-explanatory. So I just went ahead and did it. Nick says, can you show what deodorant do you use? You can also apply it. Well, I can explain my hygiene routine to you. I would say that 80% of the time I do not wear deodorant. And it's been about 3, maybe 4 years that I don't wear deodorant regularly. And some people are really afraid to do that, and I understand. I understand why you're afraid to do that, but I'm going to explain my journey and tell you my recommendation, right? So first, understand that deodorant, antiperspirant deodorant, makes you dependent on it, right? So you wearing deodorant will make you more funky than you would naturally be. So if you are brave enough to go through the journey of not wearing antiperspirant, you'll definitely go through that funky phase. You don't have to go through the funky phase, and I'll explain to you how you can skip the funky phase, which is what I did, but I'll get to that in a second. But after you get over that phase, you'll notice that your body just doesn't naturally stink as bad as it did when you were wearing deodorant. Or antiperspirant deodorant, I should say, because I still wear deodorant, but I don't wear antiperspirant. Deodorant sometimes. Like right now, I'm not wearing deodorant, but I'll tell you what I did. So the way I was able to skip the funky phase is by drinking liquid chlorophyll. Now, what is liquid chlorophyll? So chlorophyll is basically what makes our plants green, right? It is also a natural body deodorizer. So if you consume liquid chlorophyll, I mean, I recommend it in liquid form. They do have it available in capsules or like tablets, but I get better results with the liquid form. I've used both, and the liquid is by far superior. I think I might just go and grab it so you guys can see it. I'm gonna grab it. It's in my fridge. I'm gonna grab it so you guys can see the one that I recommend. Okay. So this, it's probably mirror imaged, so you guys might not be able to see it properly, but this is World. The brand is called World, I guess. The top it says chlorophyll from alfalfa. Liquid chlorophyll 100 mg. So if you are interested in anything I'm saying, take a screenshot. I'll hold it up for a few more seconds. Take a screenshot, and it's available on Amazon. And I highly recommend this. You mix it with your water, and it's pretty tasteless. Your water will turn a beautiful green, and drink it. And drink it for just a couple of days, and you'll notice your body does not stink anymore. Your flatulence doesn't stink. Your urine doesn't stink. If you are menstruating, your blood doesn't have a scent. Like that's you know, the power of liquid chlorophyll. So I do that. I drink. So when I started drinking that, maybe after like 2 days, I noticed all smells gone. My burps don't, I said gas. So I meant, no, I said flatulence, but I mean gas, period. Whether it comes out the top or the bottom, it doesn't stink. So I definitely recommend trying that if you want to get away from deodorant. Now antiperspirant. So now the thing is, a lot of people have issues with sweat and how much they sweat. So chlorophyll is not going to stop you from sweating. It's going to just stop you from stinking. So what I also do what I have done, I should say, that has gotten rid of excess sweating is laser hair removal. So I do laser hair removal on some parts of my body, including my underarms. So the laser hair removal, so you guys can probably see my situation here. You see it's like not discolored or anything. And I don't grow hair under my arms anymore. I'll say like maybe like 10% of the hair that I used to grow still grows a bit. And it only grows like to the point where I only have to shave like once every 2 months. And that's after getting laser hair removal for about a year. So when I started doing that, I didn't know that it was going to reduce sweat. That was just something that I noticed during the process, and then I looked it up and I found out that it does help with that. So that's gonna help you with the sweating part. And yeah. So lastly, I do want to mention that like I may like, so this is something I would recommend to drink like daily, but I'm not perfect. I will forget days sometimes. And when I forget the days, and I may notice a bit of odor coming in, what I will do is, after I shower, I'll wipe my underarms with glycolic acid, or I'll wipe my underarms with rubbing alcohol, and that works. So I took a shower this morning. I rubbed my underarms with rubbing alcohol. I did not drink this yesterday, so that's something that I do. And I don't smell. I don't have a scent. Anything you smell is either just like my natural pheromones or like my fragrance that I use, because I love perfumes and body oils, but I like perfumes. Specifically, I do like perfumes. All right. So I said all of that. I'm going to go back into the comments. I know I just kind of went off for a good 5 minutes talking about that. Brand says, me personally, I only know that I'm FBA. Now you're talking to an entrepreneur. So when I see FBA, I think fulfilled by Amazon. So I'm not sure what you mean by FBA. I know that I'm FBA. I'm not sure what you mean. I know I got deeper roots than that. Oh, you're talking about roots? I'm not sure what I think you're talking about a tribe. I'm not sure what tribe that is right now. Not deeper roots than that. Where was I? But something about freeform locks was calling me, so I did it. I plan on doing a 23andMe, even though I don't want to. I've done ancestry tests myself. I did African Ancestry, which was a bust, and I did AncestryDNA.com. Maimuna says, hi, I've been locked 9 years, interlocking, and have noticed my little locks getting a little thinner. Have you noticed that at all? And if so, what do you do to combat it? So let me know, Maimuna, do you mean thinner like they are thinning to the point where they look like they could break? Or do you mean the general consistency of the entire lock is thinner? Now, I want to make that distinction because it is expected that your hair overall will get thinner over time because your hair is still locking. So as it continues to lock, even though it's locked, as it continues to lock, it will naturally get thinner. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily thinning out. It's just getting thinner. It's getting more compact. It's getting more compact. So as it gets more compact, it'll get thinner as it gets more compact. So that's not a bad thing. But I guess if you prefer the aesthetic of it thicker, then it's a bad thing, right? And you mentioned that you interlock. So if you don't want them to be as compact, then I would recommend that you stop interlocking and either freeform, semi-freeform, or palm roll and retwist. Because obviously when you freeform your locks are fuller, but when you palm roll, they don't get as compact as they get when you interlock. Sunny says, I just use coconut oil, some cologne, and essential oils, and that's been working for a month now. Okay, good. Minus all that, how's your diet? Hi, 758 Tev. My diet, it fluctuates. You know, sometimes I eat cleaner than other times. Other times I just eat what I want to. I I'm not a vegan. I've been vegan several times in my life, but I've done it in like stints. So I was probably never vegan for longer than like 4 months. And usually what would make me stop being vegan is me losing too much weight. I am, by nature, I'm very underweight naturally. You guys could see what I look like. Like I'm a size 2. And I've been a size 2 since I was like 25. And prior to being 25, I was a size 0. Right? When I turned 25, I started taking a Petaben to help me eat more to gain weight because I was just too underweight for my liking. And the doctors would tell me, "Oh yeah, you should gain some weight." Doctors have been telling me that my whole life, and gaining weight has always been a struggle. I have skinny jeans. So with that being said, being plant-based, I just always lose weight. I just always lose weight when I'm vegan. So I'm just not vegan. I just don't do that anymore. So it's really important for you to find the diet that suits you the best. And eating meat. I mean, I still eat relatively clean. Like I still do incorporate plant-based recipes for sure. My man is vegan, and that helps. But I eat meat. Brand says, I used to drink that stuff, then I stopped. You got me thinking about doing it again. Foundational Black American. Okay. Thank you. So what does it mean to be a foundational Black American? Because I've heard that phrase before, but what does that mean to be a foundational Black American? Does that mean that you're descendant of enslaved Africans in America? Is that what that means? That's my guess, but let me know what that means, please, Brand. I really don't want to give them people my money, but I need to know my roots. Well, when I took the African Ancestry test, it was a bust. And the only reason why it was a bust, it was because I had the wrong test. So the test that I had was for your mother's lineage. And I already knew my mother's lineage was going to take me to Europe. So what it does is it's your mother's 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 and so on and so forth. So my mother's mother is half white, half Black. And the white, I wouldn't even necessarily say white all the way. My mother's mother's mother was a Portuguese woman. She was a Portuguese woman living in Guyana. So a Portuguese woman married my Guyanese great-grandfather, and they had my grandmother and my great aunts and uncles. So they're mixed. So if I would have known that the test that I was taking was going to show my mother's lineage in that way, I wouldn't have taken that test. I would have taken the paternal one. But it is what it is. Because I had I reached out to African Ancestry and they sent me a free test. And then it was a bust. So I'm like, I'm not even going to reach out to them again to ask them for another test. Because that was a little embarrassing on my part. I should have known not to get that test. But yeah, that's that. But as far as my when I took the Ancestry DNA test, I had that video. I had to take it off of YouTube. I took it off of YouTube, but that video made me some money on YouTube. That video had a lot of views, but I had to take it down because I did not like being misunderstood. So in that test, it was revealed that I am 84% African. 84, right? And I didn't understand how, I mean, I still don't even really fully understand, but you know, the way your DNA presents is not necessarily like exactly how your parents are, if that makes sense. So for instance, when I took the test, so in the video, I'm explaining what I know about my family, and I basically my mother's mother, like I said, is mixed, and I knew my mother's father to have like indigenous in him. So if you look at my grandparents, well, rest in peace to my grandfather. My grandmother is still here. But if you look at them, they both look like mixed people. They both don't look black all the way, right? So with that being said, I somewhat view my mother as a mixed woman because of that. Y'all have seen my mom. She looks like a light-skinned black woman. Sure, yes. But when I consider her parents, that if the two of them are mixed, and then so she's kind of mixed. So anyways, long story short, in the video I said I expect to be 75% African and 25% other, because I know my dad is fully African. Well, my dad is Guyanese as well, and both his parents are were Guyanese as well, and black, dark skinned black. Like I just figured, like, okay, so my father's side is fully African, my mother's side is probably half African, right? That would make me 75% African, right? That's at least how I thought it would be. So when I took the test and it turned out that I was 84% African, I was kind of like, I was confused. And people misinterpreted my confusion as disappointment. Like I was disappointed to be 84% African. And I hated that for me. I really hated that for me. I mean, that was only a portion of the comments, but it hurt my feelings. It hurt my feelings that people were like, oh, you're ashamed to be as African as you are. I'm like, man, do you know what my degree is in? I have a bachelor's degree in Africana studies. Do you see what I do like for a living? I'm ashamed of being African. That had really upset me. So I took that video down, even though that video did help me eat. Again, most of the comments weren't like that. But also I did get disturbed by some of the comments because there were a lot of non-Black people in my comments saying stuff like, I knew you weren't going to be like 90% or 80% African. I didn't think you would be that African. Look at your nose. Like I can tell, like, look at your skin, like and things like that. They're like, oh, like I could tell you're mixed with something. That bothered me too. Like, what do you mean? And I hate that narrative that Black people don't have small noses. Consider the fact that everybody came from Africans, right? So that means that all the features come from Africans. Let's start there. So like, I hate when people be like, oh, you got high cheekbones, you got Native American in you. My high cheekbones could very well be from my African blood, right? My small nose could very well be from my African blood, right? My larger lips are very likely from my African blood. And like, look at my skin, like everything comes from Africa at the end of the day. All features come from Africa. So knock it off. Especially because let's not act like non-black people have a monopoly on small noses, because we know that's not true. We know that's not true. Let's stop. Sunny, thank you, Chow. Sunny says, I remember eating vegan in 2020 and got really bad indigestion. Yeah, very often like that, the really high fiber and lectin diet will do that for a lot of us. Like we all have to eat according to our guts. We all have unique guts, and we just have to. That sounds gross saying guts like that, but we all have to eat according to what works best for us. Brand says, I'm currently pescatarian, and yes, you're right. Exactly. Our families are black, but been in America for centuries. Okay, got you. And you know what, another thing I hate, and sorry if I'm like ranting a little bit, but as somebody who is first generation American, again, both of my parents are Guyanese. They were both born in Guyana. It's just a fun fact. My dad came to America when he was about 8 years old, and my mom came to America when she was about 28, maybe 27, right? So that's why my mother has a really strong accent, and my dad's accent is not strong, but it's gotten stronger over the years because my dad moved back to Guyana, so his accent has gotten stronger over the years. But with that being said, I am first generation American, so I just really hate when like, as somebody who's very pro black, you know, and I refer to my ancestors, and when I say things like my ancestors built this country, and people be like, oh, but you're not American, that really grinds my gears. Because fun fact, and not so fun, the enslaved people who were dropped off in the Caribbean were from the same people who were dropped off in the United States. Therefore, we all share ancestors. Therefore, my ancestors built this country. Therefore, if you are American, or if you are a foundational Black American, your ancestors also built the Caribbean and South America and all that. Okay? We share ancestors. Let's get that through our skulls, people. Let's get that through our skulls. Most of us are descendants of West Africans. All right? Like that's something that just really ticks me off all the time. It just ticks me off. We have the same ancestors, people. We are the same people. So whenever we have those diaspora wars conversations and stuff, it's really like mind numbing. Brand says, I've heard bad stories about them. I'm leaning more towards 23andMe. Okay, I mean, I have heard that 23andMe is more thorough. I have heard that. But one thing that's cool about Ancestry DNA, which 23andMe probably still has that too, is that like it will connect you to your family. So like over the years, like I'll get an email every now and then, like, oh, we found your cousin, like your fourth cousin or something like that. And then I'll like ask my mom or somebody, be like, oh, do you know this name? They're like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, Ancestry DNA will match you to your family. So it's something, at least that's a little bit accurate, you know. It's a little bit accurate about it. But I've heard controversy about, when it comes to taking these DNA tests, they use your DNA for stuff or whatever. I'm like, hey, whatever, use my DNA. What you gonna do? Like, my worst fear is that they use my DNA to try to set me up for a crime or something. But why would you want to do that to me, little old me? So for those of you who just coming in, I am working on mixing my rose water moisturizer, and I'm doing it kind of off screen because I don't need y'all to know all my secrets. but I am bottling up rosewater refill bottles. And if you are watching now, today is the 17th. We are in the midst of my June product drop. So if you order now, you will get speedy delivery. If you wait until after the 18th, your order will become a pre-order for July 15th. So keep that in mind. Bear in mind that ordering during the drop is prime time, ideal time to order because shipping is immediate versus any other time, your order is a pre-order. And then you got to wait until the next drop, which is the 15th through the 18th of every month. She builds and nurtures with Charlene Bond says, when is the best time to trim your locks or when do you know? So consider that you don't have to trim your locks. Consider that it is a matter of your preference if you want to trim them. However, it's recommended to trim your locks if you are dealing with breakage. So you don't have to trim your locks like clockwork, like you probably would if you had loose natural hair, because the nature of locks is somewhat of a protective style in a way that you don't need to, you're not gonna like experience much of anything from split ends or anything like that. So you don't need to trim your locks routinely or clockwork. So I recommend trimming them when you are dealing with breakage from maybe dryness or breakage from color damage, or breakage from like actual like impacts. Maybe you had a bad run-in with some rubber bands or something, and now the rubber bands cause breakage in your end, then you want to trim it. So that's my recommendation. Carolyn says, exactly. Brand says, say it again for the people in the back. LMAO, that's exactly why I want my ancestry test. Yeah. Yes, we are all cousins. Distant cousins, but we're cousins. Charlene Bond says 23andMe sold everyone's DNA. Be cautious. Yeah. So 23andMe, okay, I heard that about Ancestry DNA, but you're saying it happened with 23andMe. They probably all do it. Just, I think you just had understanding when you're going ahead with the process. Um, I know. I mean, I don't think that. Who knows? But I don't think that they have like nefarious intentions with the DNA. I think they're just trying to study us. But hey, they may have nefarious intentions. I don't know these people. I don't know these people. um, Actually, which would you recommend? I don't trust any of them. Oh, Charlene Bond probably doesn't recommend any. But yeah, I did. Good morning, Lamb. I did the African Ancestry. So I do recommend that you guys look into the African Ancestry. I'm pretty sure that's actually a Black-owned one. So that's good. I've been on here for a minute. I'll stay longer if you guys have any questions or anything. Peace of Love says, we not African, we are indigenous Americans, we in Indian of this land. Some of us are indigenous, and I'm sure you don't mean Indian. I'm sure you mean Native American, because Indians are from India. Fun fact. But a lot of us are indigenous people. A lot of us are. So taking that DNA test, if you don't know from your own family, oral history or whatever, that'll help you find out. Because like a lot of Native Americans are or were like dark skinned, because when you go back in time long enough, Remember when we all used to be all the continents used to be like one big continent before it split apart, you know? So yeah, some of y'all, when you say we, I don't know who is we. Peace of love, I don't know who we is, but some of us are, yeah. Some of us are indigenous American. Carolyn says, we are all, yes, we are related. They say the oldest woman believed to be Eve, and all humans related back to Eve, the Eve gene. That's true, yeah. Yeah, that's all of us when you take it back that far. Yeah, we're all related in that way, for sure. Um, Peace of Love says America is India superior. We are Indians, indigenous to the land of. Okay. Grace be with you today. I love you. I missed you. Thank you. I love you too. I've missed you too. But I don't know how I've been missed. I've been here. I haven't gone nowhere. I haven't gone nowhere. I have to grab something. I'll be right back. Okay. It's me. I've been absent. Oh. Okay. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's me. That's what they all say. That's what they all say when they want to let you down easy. Okay, where's my horsetail? Oh, there it is. So if anyone has any more questions, I'm trying to be on here for another 15 minutes. And then this is really slowing down my production. So I do want to like wrap this up so I can hurry up and get this stuff out to the post office today. It's 11 o'clock and I have a 1 p.m. call. It's possible. I can make it work. It's motherhood for me, for real. I got you, Grace. I got you. I know how it is. Not firsthand, but I know how it is. So for those of you just coming in, let me know how long you've had your locks and let me know what city you are based in. Let me know what city you're based in. Or let me know what made you start your locks. Let's have a conversation. You started in 2013 and you're in Detroit. Okay, nice. So you've had your locks for 12 years? Congratulations. I have to curl them. Have you curled them before? Curling is my favorite lock style. It's a bit of a pain to achieve the curls, but it's always worth it. In my opinion, it's always worth it. But if nobody has any questions now, I think I've done a good little run for 45 minutes, you know, and I'll get off of here. Hey, Luffy. Grace says, yes, I plan to go further. And yes, I curled them. I was inspired because of your videos. I initially started with sister locks. Nice. Nice. I love to hear that. You said you initially started with sister locks, as in you don't have sister locks anymore. Did you combine them? What happened there? Are they traditional locks now, or do you still have sister locks? But Yes, I had to go to the shop to combine them. Okay. That's cool. Sister locks. Whew, I mean, shout out to everybody who has sister locks, but that maintenance is not attractive to me. That maintenance is not attractive to me. That's not desirable to me. It was too much to handle with 3 kids. Understandable. And I trust that your kids are probably young. I trust your kids are probably young. So yeah, that's a lot to deal with. Yeah. So this is my final call for those of you who have any questions or comments, anything you want to say. Otherwise, I'm going to get off of here. And as a final reminder, we are in the June drop period. So if you are interested in placing an order on the Love Light and Locks products, including the Rosewater Moisturizers, the Horsetail Leaf Growth Oil, the Emu Oil Growth Drops, which I don't have within arm's reach, I do recommend that you shop now during the drop for speedy delivery. We're shipping now. But if you wait until after the drop window, which is after the 18th, your order will be a pre-order. So your order won't be shipped until the July drop. And the drops are from the 15th to the 18th every month. So you'll have to wait until July 15th to get your tracking number. Grace says, see you soon. I'll catch up on your videos. Thank you, Grace. Have a good rest of your day. The Ariel Blow says, why do my scalp itch every time I get a style? Every time you get a style, your scalp itches. So do you mean from your loctician? Like, do you go to a hairstylist? It could be a number of things. It could be the products that your stylist is using may not agree with you. It could be that you are kind of tender-headed. You know, sometimes keeping your hair in certain hairstyles when you're tender-headed could cause the itchiness. Are you tender-headed? Would you say that you're tender-headed? Also, you may need to massage your scalp more often, and when your hair is styled, you can't massage it very effectively. Yeah, what else could it be? My scalp dries out quickly with style. So I guess it depends on, so what kind of styles are you talking about? Because if you are styling your hair in styles such as like twists and braids, like plaits braids, you should still be able to nurture your scalp. You should still be able to moisturize your scalp and massage your scalp. But if you mean like updos, then it gets more difficult with updos. So if you mean like, so tell me, are you getting twists and braids? And remember, when you are moisturizing your scalp, remember you want to moisturize with a water-based product, whether you're using a product or actual water. Of course, I recommend a product because they're formulated for prolonged hydration versus just water. Water doesn't help your hair retain moisture. It's just temporary moisture. 2-strand twist, barrel twist. Okay, so you should be able to massage your scalp. I use aloe vera water. Okay, so you are moisturizing it, but you may need to do something to retain the moisture in it. So I would recommend sealing in the moisture with an oil. Of course, I recommend the Horsetail Leaf Growth Oil. But whichever oil you choose, make sure it's lightweight and use that as a follow-up to your aloe vera. That's what you use. You know, that's what you say you use. Then follow up with the aloe vera water, with the oil to seal in the moisture and massage. So a lot of times people will just apply the product and then keep it moving. But no, you need to massage your scalp. You need to, and I don't mean just like bang, bang, bang. No, I mean take some time for intentional massage. I have a whole webinar about massage. Is it in the link in my bio? It's definitely in the link in my link tree. If you can go to my description and find my link tree link, you can access my video where I'm like, you can access the video or the link that's titled something like 3x your hair growth or whatever. And that is explaining the importance of scalp massage, because we can like quell a lot of the issues that we are facing with our scalps if we do proper massage, right? A lot of times we're experiencing itchiness, we're experiencing stunted growth, we're experiencing dandruff and all sorts of havoc on our scalps. And truly, if we had appropriate blood flow to the scalp, that could really reverse all those issues that we're facing. But yeah, so consider that incorporate more massage, and you may notice that your itchiness subsides. Truth says, also, do you think it's best to start locks when your hair is short? Yes, I do. I do. It's easier. It's easier to maintain. It's faster to lock. Yes, I do recommend starting them shorter. Truth says, I recently cut all my hair off thinking about starting it while it's in a TWA. A TWA. Now that's really short. So the pros and cons, in my opinion. So the pros is that it's going to lock fast, you know. The cons is as far as styling options. You know, when your hair is a TWA and you start your locks are going to be really tiny. And if that's okay with you, if you don't want to style it, you know, because styling is a preference thing. You don't have to, but if you're somebody who's really interested in styles, just consider that when you start your locks that small, you're not going to really have very many options, but you can use like accessories to play up your hair in that regard. But your styles are going to be limited. So I would start with more than a TWA, so at least you have some room to do some flat twists or even like a braid out, like so you can have like a little bit of volume going on. Because when you have a TWA and you start your locks are going to be like really tiny, You don't have enough room to even make a little braid to do a braid out. So consider that. Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you've seen the first question, but I was asking, what do you think is the best method to start them? Okay. No, I did not see that. Sorry about that. If you have kinky textured hair, my personal opinion, because this is a matter of opinion, it's a matter of preference. In my personal preference and opinion, I say comb coils, right? Especially if you're starting that short, then you're definitely not going to want to do 2 strand twists. They're going to unravel super fast. And you can do interlocking or like instant locks. You know, you can do that. I don't necessarily recommend that. I just think that with a coil, it helps with the uniformity of your lock, if that makes sense. So if you care about having like a manicured lock look, I think that the palm rolling required in the maintenance of a comb coil helps keep a manicured look. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. So, okay, I've been on here long enough. I need to get busier. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. Make sure you head over to KeishaCharmaine.com today and shop. You're all very welcome. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for the conversation. I love it when you guys engage with me because it's really awkward going live and no one's leaving comments. That's discouraging. Makes you not want to go live. I'm talking to myself. I could have did that offline. But thanks again, everybody, and I will see you soon. Have a good rest of your day.